This is a demonstration of the CRM side of Contractcontroller using a purchase order as an example. So if I create a new purchase order, a standard purchase order, and we'll say it's to High Street Hardware, we'll say that it's our contact is Steve Hammer. We want it delivering to our factory. We'll say it's requested by James and date required, say the 5th of November, and we'll chase it up on the 2nd. We don't have an order reference. Terms, will import our standard purchase order terms and we'll classify it as factory. And then we just need to add the item that we want to order. So I can look this up using the contract number. Say we've got contract 137. I could book it just to that, or I could actually book it to a specific item within the contract. So we'll put it to the supplier installed door and frame. Use selected bill item. And then we just need to add the item that we want. So we want a door closer. And we'll pick the Britain. And let's say we want 2 of those. And they're each. Now, because the system knows that we're using High Street Hardware, it's using High Street Hardware's cost that's booked in the library of £70. If I was using a different hardware supplier, it would use their price. But I still have the option to change that price. It might be we phoned them up and got a slightly cheaper price, so get them at £65. And then I issue the purchase order. And we will just print a copy of that. So I think I just need to change my screen share so that you can see that. So then we have our purchase order that goes to the supplier. So I'll just change my screen share back. And then click finished. Won't print a production copy. So if I go and look how that's entered into the contract part first. So if I look up my contract and then go to purchase orders, we can see that it's made an entry in there for the door closers, and I can double click on that and view the purchase order, print a copy or whatever. Then if I look at my job costing, we can see that we've got the door closers entered in the job costing with the total price. Now if I go and look at the supplier details, so if we search for High Street Hardware, and then look at the contact log, I can then see the system's automatically made an entry that we've placed a purchase order at 3:41 on the 29th of October to that contract. With the details that we've ordered, and you can see here it's also entered a copy of that purchase order, so I could just double click on that and then view that as the PDF, and I could print a copy or download a copy from here. So I've always got a copy tied in my contact log. So that's purchase order number 127. So let's say we go and change that. Technically, we shouldn't because we've already sent it to the supplier. But if we were to actually amend that purchase order, so we go to purchase orders, unlock, enter the purchase order number. And then let's just say we change the quantity to 12. We made a mistake. It should have been 12, not 2. Then we reissued that purchase order. We print a copy. And then we I do that, go back. So now if I go and look at that contract, purchase orders, we can see we've got that purchase order showing there, but now at a higher price of 780. And if I look at it, I can see that we've got 12 from there. Similarly, if I go to my job costing, we've now got a higher price. We've got £780 against that purchase order. So at the moment, we don't have a record of the old purchase order. But if I was to go back to my, because we amended it, so we actually physically got hold of the original one and changed it. But if I go to the supplier and look at the supplier details, so if we call up High Street Hardware again, go to my contact log, you can see that we've still got the original entry of the purchase order that we did at 341. And I can view that purchase order and we can see there that we have 2. But now I've got a new entry at 343 of purchase order at 127 with a higher price. And I can double click on that and then see the new purchase order from there. So even though a purchase order has been basically destroyed and redone, we've still got a record of that original purchase order in the system. So we're keeping a track of all our purchase orders with the supplier as well as with the contract. And that's a very brief demonstration of the CRM side of Contract Controller using a purchase order.